Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has ratified and issued Law 19 of 2017 on the promulgation of the Unified Family Law after it was endorsed by the Shura Council and Council of Representatives. Our main focus today will be the landmark achievement that bolsters Bahraini judiciary and strengthens guarantees that protect litigators' rights and preserve Bahraini family cohesion. We will be discussing this matter with Shura Council member and head of the Council's Human Rights Committee, Ahmed AlHadad. Welcome back. Hello, Mr. Haddad, and thank you very much for joining us today. We've talked about family law. It's been on the mind of a lot of people, and basically ratifying this law is a great milestone for Bahrain as it joins the efforts of executive and legislative branches and reflects their deep care to the welfare of their people. What can you tell us about the significance of issuing a unified family law?
First of all, thank you, Sarah, for having me here today to talk about family law, which was ratified by His Majesty the King on 19th of July. First of all, it's a great achievement for the Kingdom of Bahrain.
Yes.
And it is an important era for the women and men of Bahrain in general. Actually, the passage of this law is very important, and I would like to seize this occasion, this opportunity, to thank His Majesty the King for his tireless effort to pass this law and to ratify this law, because I think His Majesty has been pushing this through different channels, governmental channels, so as this law comes into effects and into reality. Yes. Of course, this is very important achievement for the families of Bahrain as a whole, yeah. Both Sunnis families and Jafariya families or Shia families. And this is a milestone for Bahrain. And I think the ratification of this law has elevated the status of Bahrain, the credibility of Bahrain on international level.
Yeah.
In Geneva, on the 5th of May of this year, I participated in the discussion of Human Rights Council in Geneva, where Bahrain submitted its recommendation, 175 recommendation. And I spoke in this very issue before the council. And it was very much received, very much appreciated by all the representatives of the countries at that time. And they said that with the ratification of this law, with the enactment of this law, Bahrain has proved that it is marching towards developing the rights of women, yeah. And especially those who are vulnerable rights of women. We have some, women who can't fight in the courts, yes. To have their right preserved.
Yes, exactly. And when it comes to basically opening up this family law and unifying it for all of the people of Bahrain, the people that will actually have someone that will fight for them, how important is it on a social level?
See, Sarah, 2009, there was a campaign on unified law, which was submitted to both houses, the upper houses and the lower houses. And unfortunately, because of certain circumstances at that time, yeah. The Shia section law was not passed. So the government decided that, well, let's go with the Sunni part of it. Yeah. And I think this is very appreciated step by the government. And later, the other part can join us. Yeah. And this is proved to be the correct way of handling things. And 2010, the Sunni section law was passed by both houses and became a law. Yeah. And from that time, so many problems of differences between the wives and the husbands, yeah. has been facilitated, became easier, because before there were no law that the judge can refer to, but the new law is a detailed roadmap for the judges to take their verdicts.
Yeah.
So we really, I would like to thank the government for these steps. And of course, July 19, it's a historical day for Bahrain because the king has ratified this law. And I think by passing this law, the women's, the children's, and even the men's rights will be preserved. Because now, Sarah, we have a clear-cut law that the judges have to adhere to.
Yes.
It is not up to their personal, wishes or desires. Now they cannot, go, if they want to issue a verdict or a judgment, they have to refer to the articles. This law has 149 articles, very comprehensive. It explains everything. It claims the custody, which is very important, of children. It's alimony, alms, and all that. So many things there, and it is very comprehensive. And here we have a clear-cut vision for the judges to take their verdicts.
Yes. Well, after you explained to us that, as we know, of course, this the problems that you have mentioned, custody, alimony, alms, all of these things are the main issues that are facing these families, whether it is from the men or from the women. Can you explain to us the most influential amendment articles in this law?
See, Sarah, the contents of this law, 149 articles, they're all important, interrelated. You cannot separate one from the others. Sure. But I would like to highlight maybe 2 or 3 examples. I think the most important chapter of this law is regarding the marriages and divorce and the custody of children. Now we'll come to when there is a difference between a wife and a husband. Before there was no law, so it is just for the judge to decide whatever he wants. And we have cases for years and years and without reaching a solution. I'll tell you a very concrete example. A friend of mine, when we were at the secondary school, his father put his mother in limbo. He doesn't want to divorce her.
He just want to keep.
He didn't want to. So what happened? For a long time, and he was speaking to me, this is not correct, this is wrong. And after imagine, the court or the judge have not solved this issue, but he was able to solve his issue in mediating between his mother and his father after 20 years. That poor lady, she lost a lot.
Yeah.
But now, to put an end this kind of suffering, there is a law. Now there is another example. Unfortunately, before this law, divorce became like a business. I'll give you an example. Now suppose a husband, he's married to a well-off lady from well-off family. And he knows that this woman has a lot of money. So he tries to bargain. You give me this amount. Sometimes they demand 20,000, 30,000 dinar, 50,000, so that he will divorce.
These are actual cases.
Absolutely, and it's mentioned in the newspaper, in the media, and it's well known to so many people. And this is very unfortunate because maybe the family is forced to accept his demands because they see daily their daughter is suffering psychologically, physically. She cannot have rest. It's always, he may be creating problem for her, calling her and all that. And really, with the passage of this law, the ratification of this law, it has put an end to such kind of suffering.
Yes, yeah, true. Now, divorce is, of course, one of the main issues that were amended in this article. It has made clearer articles that basically talk to the situations that we have in Bahrain and in this region, because we are a region of basically Islamic law, and the Islamic law follows different articles. It protects women, it protects the men as well.
Absolutely.
But having these laws written down and having them practiced is important. What can you tell us about the most important amendments that were done to the divorce law in particular?
You know, see, Sarah, the most important thing is this law, unified family law, has came into reality.
Yes.
And this is a great achievement for Bahrain. There might be some differences here and there, but the most important thing is that we Bahrainis,
Yes.
with the help of so many entities in the country, were able to reach a consensus on this issue and to make this law become a reality. Let me tell you one thing. Before the ratification of Sunni family law,
Yeah.
2009,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when they go to court, the cases take sometimes years. But when this law was enacted, the judge usually they issue their within 3 to 6 months.
Yeah,
You see what is the difference?
of course.
Now we'll come to Shia Ja'fari family law.
Yeah.
The judge before, they don't have, as I said, a clear-cut map
Yes.
through which they can give.
Which they can
And
refer to.
you know, they suffer a lot. There were more than 11,000 cases in the Shia laws pending,
Yeah.
because the judge can do whatever he wants. You know, he can issue, he can delay, he can bargain, he can mediate, etc., etc. But now, thanks God, that we have now a civilized law.
Yes, yes. Mr. Haddad, would you agree that this law improved the life of the people, of the families, basically?
Without any doubt. As I said, this is a milestone. This law will preserve the right of everybody in the family. Because now, suppose a judge take a decision or a verdict against woman or a man A or B,
Yeah.
and the woman is not happy. She can go to higher courts. She can appeal.
Yeah.
And if she appealed and she's not happy also, she can knock the door of the Supreme Council, Judicial Council.
Yes.
The Supreme Judicial Council doing a fantastic work, a fantastic job. Their door is open. Anybody can approach them. And they also, their eyes are open on the judges.
Yes.
You know, this is very, very good things, because now I feel very comfortable when I have problem. I know that not only the judge, they are also supervised
Yes.
and look at them from the other party
Yes,
also.
yes.
And this is really very encouraging.
Yes.
And I would like to appreciate what the Minister of Justice, Sheikh Khalid bin Ali, is doing.
Yes.
Really, he was one of those who pushed very hard. So this law will come into it. I'll tell you one thing. I am a member of the Legislative Committee of
Yes.
Shura Council. He attended so many meetings when we were discussing this law, and he answers all the questions which were posed at that time.
Yes.
And this is really very important. It shows how important the legislative and the executive branches of the government cooperating, and the government shows that they respect the legislative part. Yes, and we have a kind of cooperation,
Yes.
and everybody was happy.
Exactly. It's very important at this point to actually remind people that judges, lawyers, all of these are public servants. They are servants of the court, of the judiciary system. And there has always been some kind of supervision, but now there is transparent supervision. So if a person comes to these courts and they want to make sure what's going on, they want to have more information how the judge took this decision, how the lawyers protected them and how they didn't, there are transcripts now that are basically there and available to everybody to see, for the clients to see if they want to know how their laws have become. All right, for a Bahraini family, well, after 8 years of having the unified family laws, after 8 years, it has seen light now, finally. Why did it become a necessity at this point? Is it because of the large numbers of cases, or is it because finally there is some kind of unified attention to it from all the sides, or why is it now?
First of all, before I answer this question, I just want to say one thing. The ratification of this law by His Majesty the King really elevates Bahrain's status on international level as well as internally. Yeah. You know, this is one pillar of His Majesty initiative of democratic developments in Bahrain. And everybody I said when I was in Geneva appreciated what His Majesty has taken. Regarding why now we have this law. You know, everybody reads, everybody knows that there are a lot of problems, especially regarding marriages and divorce. Yeah. You know, Sarah, today we have the social media. Before, if you have a telephone, hardly everybody can hear you. You see the old Egyptian films, they take the phone side. Yeah. But now, even kids 3, 4 years, 6 years, they have this mobile. You don't know when they close the door behind them, what they're doing. And here, there's a problem, even for the women, for the men. You know, they have the means to speak to each other, to talk so many things. And there are people in this country or in the world who try to create problems. But this is one thing. The second thing is maybe the backgrounds of the families. Some families are poor. Maybe the husband doesn't work. They need, he has to spend on them. He doesn't have the means. And there they create problem for the kids, moreover, you know, with the developments of digital world, science, technology. Now we have everything. You cannot hide. And all these combined, I think, made us think of passing such kind of law, so that everybody, all the components of the families, all the elements will be protected as per the law.
Yes.
And this is very, as I said, important step, important achievement for Bahrain as a whole.
Yes, yes. And we can see even like, as you said, technology and the digital world, basically this is a two-edged knife, because it does help in a lot of ways, but also on the other hand, everything is out there now, everything is on the table. Absolutely. And the courts have even accepted that some of these transcripts are used in court in order to defend the families or whoever is basically going against the other one there. Now, there were numerous steps in order to arrive to the final draft of the unified law, and finally to approve it as it was done. Can you tell us about these steps in terms of cooperation with the National Assembly and within the government, and basically between each other and all the parties involved?
First of all, I would like to extend my thanks and appreciation to Her Royal Highness Sheikh Sabija bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, the wife of the King, for her efforts. Actually, she is the dynamo behind passing this law. Yes. Beside Mrs. AlHadad Al-Ansari, the Director General of ESQA, Supreme Court of Supreme Council of Women, she also played a very important role. ESQA, they've been pushing for a long time to have such kind of legislation. Because they knew from the practice, from the cases they see day to day, a lot of women came to them complaining, asking for solutions, and they know the fact. And we would like to thank everyone and everybody at the Supreme Council of Women who are behind the scenes, who contributed for the passage and ratification of this law. Of course, we have also the Ministry of Justice and Islamic Affairs, and I mentioned His Excellency the Minister, Sheikh Khalid bin Ali. He played very important role, especially at the final stages, I told you he came to our legislature and he went also to the House of Representatives. Yes. He was there when the Shura Council passed this law on the 18th of July, and a day later was ratified by the King.
Yes.
And also we have the NGOs.
Yes.
Bahrain Women Union, they have very important rules. For years they've been telling us and telling the government and telling the Supreme Council of Women, please do something, because they live all this suffering of women.
Yes.
Who are the main sufferers? The women, the children, not the men.
There are some men, but not
some
as
men,
much.
The major part who suffer, women and children.
True.
And we have also as well, of course, at the final stages, the Shura Council took the initiative and submitted a draft law in this regard, and was sponsored by 5 members of the Legislative Committee, and then sent to the government, His Majesty the King, to be sure 100% that there is no loopholes in this law. Yes. He appointed a committee of 10 well-known judges and clerics who are specialized in the family's roles, you know. Yes. So he wants to make sure that this law is sound, this law is good for the benefits of the women's and the men's and the children's of Bahrain.
Yes. Now, from what you've said, of course, we see that it's just not one party that was part of making this law. You have a whole team from different sides of the government, as well as NGOs, non-governmental institutions, the SCW, also some private businesses or charities, basically, that have been protecting abused women, abused children, as well as have been hearing the stories of the families that are going through this. Sometimes there is an actual agreement where the families do want to get a divorce or want to separate, but there is no money or there is something that's hindering them. And this is what this law basically protects. But my question to you is, who is the most that will benefit out of this law? The children out of it and the families, of course, that's on a side, but even social justice and basically social cohesion, that will also benefit, not right?
Absolutely. First of all, the main benefiter of this is the families of Bahrain as a whole, of both sects, Sunni and Shia. This is secondly, the women of Bahrain, they are very happy. They thank His Majesty the King for ratifying this law. The children, the children, the most vulnerable elements within the family, especially when a man divorced a woman and they have 4 or 5 kids, 6, 7 years. Who's going to look after them?
Of course.
They're vulnerable. They might go for bad things.
Exactly.
They'll be exposed to so many things because, you know, the mother and the father in the house, they're the guarantors.
Exactly.
For the welfare of the family, for the unity of the family. Once these people became absent, then these kids, they don't know, still young, don't know what they're doing, what is good for them, what's bad for them. So this law, I believe, has preserved all the rights of the family members. And of course, as a society in Bahrain, we also benefited. This, as I said, will elevate Bahrain's status internationally, internally, and will show the world that this country is caring about its citizen. We are enacting modern law to protect our families, our citizens. And this is what the UN wants. You know, this is what the United Nations wants. This is what the Human Rights Commissioners in Geneva wants. This is also other NGOs in the world who are, working within the fields of human rights, they'll all appreciate what Bahrain is doing.
Exactly, exactly. Now, a lot of people might not see how immense this law basically affected our community, because a lot of people that are watching don't live in our community. But we are a kingdom island that is small, and social cohesion is very important. It's part of what keeps Bahrain together. The families are very close to each other from everywhere. So having these problems and them being solved by family law keeps that cohesion. You don't have that separation between the families and between basically both sides of the families from different tribes or from different family names. How do you value the leadership's support? You said that Sheikha Sibika, basically, she was one of the main people that drove this law, and His Majesty the King also ratifying this law a day after it was approved in the committee. But we also see this from other leaders and from everywhere else in the world. This is ratified. But why is it so important to us Bahrainis that our leader are basically behind this law and helping us with it?
See, as I said, His Majesty the King is behind this for a long time. And really, we were very happy to see His Majesty the King on the 19th of July at Skhir Palace, when he invited all the stakeholders and to thank them personally. This is really a human touch. It shows how much His Majesty is caring for the families of Bahrain, for the welfares of the children, of the women. Presents were His Royal Highness, the Prime Minister, the Crown Prince, the ministers, the main committees of Parliament House, both the upper and the lower house, judges, different dignitaries who took part and make this law a reality. This shows, when the world watches lives on the Bahrain TV, that the rulers of this country, they are caring about their citizens. They appreciate. After all, we are humans, and anything is good about Bahrain reflects it about others.
And they listen.
Absolutely. And let me say one thing, Sarah. Bahrain may be small by its area, small by its population, but it's big by its activities. Bahrain, I work at the UN and foreign, when I was at the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Bahrainis are welcome wherever you go. At the United Nations, Bahrain played very important roles. So many levels, and I mentioned that so many times. This shows how much Bahrain is well appreciated throughout the world.
Exactly, all right. And commenting on this, we might talk to Dr. Jameela AlSamak, who is with us, and for further discussion, we are going to turn to the Representatives Council member, Dr. Jameela AlSamak. Hello, Dr. Jameela, thank you for joining us today.
Hello. It's I'm very happy to be with you today. Thank you.
Dr. Jameela, we talked a lot about basically ratifying this law that has passed. From your point of view, what is the importance of the issuance of this family law, and how does it contribute to the development of social cohesion?
Yeah, of course, this will play a big role actually in all the stability of the families in Bahrain. The Kingdom of Bahrain, as you know, actually it's able to provide such a new achievement, which is the issuance of the Unified Family Law, which is based on the provisions of Islamic law, and that make a big difference actually of it. And that also the national consensus of all the families on the family law approved by the both Shura and the House of Representatives, and of course agreed and accepted and by all Bahrainis, reflected the importance of the law on its necessity associated with the need of Bahraini family. Today, before the judge, the lawyer, and the family, legal text reflects the famous jurisprudential opinion. This represents, of course, the fundamental development of the legal system for the protection of the family entirety.
Yes, yes.
Enshrines the role of the law and contributes the maintaining, of course, of the cohesion and the stability of the family. And it also strengthens the social fabric. I think it's really a good, to have such a law. First of all, I would like really to express my thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for having such a big achievement in Bahrain, which is having a family law.
Yes. Dr. Samak, also we were talking with Mr. Ahmed AlHadad about how different parts of the government came together and different NGOs and also the SCW came together in order to collaborate to make this law. So can you tell us more about the collaboration among the representatives and the Shura Council and the government in order to pass the family law to see the light?
Yes, of course. And this is actually I can say because of the bright vision of His Majesty the King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, whom he thought about having Sharia Committee. Sharia Committee to review the family law, which was a major influence in this national consensus. The committee was formed by a group of distinguished scholars and senior clerics in Bahrain. That makes the difference. They sat together and they re-examined the law in accordance with Islamic law. And they recommended actually its adoption by the legislative authority. When this has comes to us, as a Bahraini representative council and Shura together, we have actually discussed it and agreed on it because it reflects the consensus that enjoyed by the law during its, enjoyed by all the family Bahrainis.
Yes.
Because that actually reflects also the Islamic law and agreed by it. Such family law, I think it will actually reflect the differences of what's going on now. That before many cases has been represented in the court where they don't have a certain clear law that will fight about women rights. Now everything is clear with this law. People can be assured that their right has been achieved, and the family also achieved their dreams.
Yes.
Having such law, of course, this will support the families. It will support also the wealth of and the health of the sons of Bahrain.
Yes. Yes.
This collaboration actually, which has been set together and discussed this, and we agreed on it, just because everybody actually in Bahrain are dreaming to have such law. NGOs, if you can see that, especially the women NGOs, they were fighting long time ago in order to have such law. Supreme Council of Women also, yes. They were also fighting and asking when that law is going to be, to see the light. Women in Bahrain, each and every woman in Bahrain, they were really, it was just a dream for them in order to have such law.
Yes.
That's why, this collaboration and cooperation together, we worked all together in order to have such, family law.
Yes.
To see the light.
Yes. Doctor, as you mentioned, of course, everybody has had a positive reaction to this. This elevates, as we said, Bahrain's status internationally and nationally. But from your point of view, I just want to get your description of what people's reaction is to the endorsement of the law, considering that there were so many pending cases. We're not talking about a couple of numbers. We're talking about thousands of cases, and even a couple of numbers is not insignificant. We're talking about thousands and thousands. So how were their reactions?
The reaction, of course, everybody were very happy, and they described it as this is the dream, actually, that Bahrain got it finally. by issuing such a unified family law. Of course, the recognition of dignity of women and their role in the process of construction and development has been achieved. This law represents, of course, an achievement added to the record of our comprehensive achievement. And of course, I can describe it as this is a new chapter of development of the legal system as a whole in Bahrain.
Yes.
It is an achievement that we are all, every single person in Bahrain is proud of such a law. Because that, of course, will reinforce the high position of the Kingdom of Bahrain, and it's pioneering the role among the developed and civilized countries of the world, and that certainly will contribute to the stability of Bahraini family as women. This law to be considered actually that it is another indication of special attention and care for women. Not only for women, actually, for all the family and for the society as a whole.
Yes.
This also will emphasize the importance of women enjoyment of all, the gains made by the reform project as a partner of the process of building and development. Woman is a part of this development. Woman is a part of His Majesty reinforcement to have, good development in the country. And I'm sure that having such law, this will be big pride in all women's and maybe all the individuals in Bahrain hearts, in order to be, that there is something which is, we are all proud of it.
Yes, yes.
People actually are considering as this is the end of suffering.
Yes.
They just say which law? The law of the end of suffering of women. This is what they are calling it now.
Yes.
It's really the end of woman suffering, I can say.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Jameela, for your insight and for joining us today. All right. Welcome back to the show. Thank you very much, Dr. Haddad. You listened to some of the things. She basically emphasized the things that you said, but I'd like to comment on that last part where you also mentioned main people that were being affected by this law not seeing the light were the women in this. But now, after this law basically strengthens the women's rights. It gives them a backbone. They know that they have someone to fight with them, even if it's not someone from the family. The whole government is fighting for them. What can you comment on that?
The enhancements and strengthening of women positions in Bahrain it's not strange to Bahrain.
Yes.
Women enhancement has been going on for long, since the 30s. 1932, sure. Bahraini women participated in the election of municipalities council. Yeah. You see, we're starting a long time back.
Yeah.
So you see women now, all positions, ambassador, ministers, doctor, very distinguished engineers,
yes.
All fields.
Exactly. This
is a fact about Bahraini women.
Yeah.
So you see today, the woman in the public sector's position ranges from 37 to 52.
Yes.
This is a great achievement.
It is.
In the private sector, 37. It's a huge percentage. Yeah. It shows that Bahrain women, they're really working, side by side with the men, and since long, in developing our country on economic level, political level, social level, yes. and all levels. Okay. So this is just, I should put it in this way, a piece of achievements that will strengthen the position of women in Bahrain and make them feel more accepted in the society, and they will contribute. They've been contributing, and I think they will increase their contribution because of passing such kind of law.
Yes.
And as I said, the whole leadership of the country, both houses of the parliaments, a lot of NGOs being in Bahrain and outside Bahrain, they all working for women's well-beings,
yes.
especially the families.
Yes, yes. Mr. AlHadad, I want to ask you, does this law basically apply to Bahraini citizens or to Bahraini marriage laws?
Of course, Bahrain, mainly it's for Bahraini citizens.
Yes.
But I have read in the newspaper
Yes.
that they're foreigners, Muslims or non-Muslims.
Yes.
They go civil courts,
Exactly.
and then their cases might be decided.
Yeah.
So Bahrain is open. Bahrain has so many ethnic backgrounds, entities, and we have been living with those entities and foreigners for a long time, expected for a long time,
Yes.
since history, deep in history. So Bahrain is open, and the legal system is
Protects
open
them
for.
also.
Yeah, and this is also. We are a member of United Nations.
Yes.
We are, we are a player in human rights. Kind of activities
Yes.
at the UN level, internally, and with the foreign community. We have a big foreign community in Bahrain. They need this kind of services.
Exactly.
They need this kind of things. And the government is providing. Bahrain is an open society
Yes. Yes.
where everybody is respected.
Correct. How do you value the citizens' reactions? Dr. Samak said that basically a lot of families came in and thanked them for this law. How do you value their reaction?
Sarah, I'll tell you one thing. Especially for Shia women,
Yeah.
since long they be suffering.
Yeah.
We hear a lot of cases, a lot of things. I cannot say it here.
Of course.
By enacting such law, as Dr. Jameela said, the women feel they are safe now.
Yeah.
As I said, there were 11,000 or more
Okay.
cases for Shia only. Imagine.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
There was no end. They were desperate. Almost they got it 2009, but because of certain circumstances, it was delayed for 8 years.
Yes.
And we are very proud now, very happy, and full of joy that this law has been ratified by His Majesty the King.
Yes.
And I think this is for the interest of Bahrain as a whole.
Yes. And you can see that within their reaction, you actually see that this law has really opened up the doors for them, their security, for their future, for their children's future.
Sarah, as I said, sometimes the Shia cases, differences in marriage divorce take 20 years or more. There were 2 cases where Shia women went to the court after the issuing of this. Within 2 sittings, the judge gave a verdict.
Yes.
And everybody was happy.
Yeah.
Why? Because the judge, he has a detailed roadmap.
Yeah.
He cannot deviate. There is a law, there is an article. It's like an open book.
Exactly.
Like mathematics.
Yes.
1 + 1, 2.
Exactly.
He cannot go here, because if he gives a verdict against this, does not go with this article, there is an appeal. There's a higher court.
Yes. That will basically ask
Absolutely.
him how he
No.
reach this.
We have a clear-cut policy,
Yeah.
a clear-cut vision. And this is very important, because we sometimes maybe feel, what should I say, even the judge sometimes, we feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Because they tried their best to find a solution that will be acceptable for both the men and the women. But they don't have a written law, clear-cut articles. But now, thanks God, this has been cleared.
Yes.
And they have it.
We have already reached the end of our show. This is a very complex situation and a complex issue that we talked about. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed AlHadad, for being with us today and talking to us about this. And thank you, dear members or dear viewers, for watching us. And see you again in the next week's edition of